Hey, I am Canada Chris. I've lived in Canada for 36 years. Are you getting annoyed of this intro yet? My wife's laughing at me. She is Serbian. She was born in Canada because her mom left Serbia due to the war. But we have decided to take the entire family, bring everybody back to Serbia so that we can all be together. And they brought Canadian Chris over with them. So here I am, 36 years from Canada, with that perspective, and I'm answering questions on YouTube for all of my Serbian viewers and friends. I've enlisted ChatGPT to ask a whole bunch of questions. I'm realizing, creating these videos, that there are way too many things that I don't really know anything about in Serbia, so it makes difficult discussing. And I'm very negatively inclined towards things in Canada because the country has gone down the shithole. So I've decided that I'm going to group up some of these. All right, so I'm going to read these off to you. I want to talk about the biggest differences in attitudes towards environmentalism. Environmentalism. Oh my God, why? Okay, and sustainability between the two countries. ChatGPT created these for me. Okay, so excuse the fact that I didn't choose these. What are the biggest differences in the music and entertainment scenes between Canada and Serbia? Which I have a little bit of an opinion about. And how does the political landscape differ between the two countries? And let's talk about the biggest differences in family dynamics and relationships between Canada and Serbia. So I'm going to talk about all four of these. We're going to make them a little bit quicker. Hopefully, the English is not too fast, but, anyways. So, number one, the biggest differences in attitudes towards environmentalism and sustainability between the two countries. I have no political understanding of pretty much anything in Canada, in Serbia, so I can't speak on any of that behalf. I do know, and this is where I come in with some of the negativity, that because of the world powers being the puppeteers that they are, Canada is in that group of people that is like a Black Rock vanguard, you know, left kind of side group of people. So we have to care about environmentalism. We have to care about sustainability. And ultimately, I think a lot of it is bullshit, to be honest. Because I'll give you one kind of metaphorical story here, okay? It's not very commonly known, but the majority of what we consider to be recyclable material in Canada is not recyclable. And the depth of the conspiracy is pretty large because on any product that you might see on the labeling on the product, obviously not on this directly, but there will be like a little symbol on the bottom, and it's kind of like these little arrows in a triangle that show to rotate, and it says recycling, right? And in the middle of this little symbol, there can be numbers from 1 to 9. This is supposed to, apparently, according to every Canadian on the face of the planet, signify that this is a recyclable plastic. That is not the case. And so, out of all the products that we have, which everything is in plastic, you were supposed to recycle this, but it doesn't get recycled because it's not recyclable. And then let's take it a step further. All the stuff that is recyclable, from what I'm understanding, when it actually makes it through the chain of society and the public being responsible for separating things and all this stuff, we get fined if you don't separate your materials. So if you don't separate cardboard and metal and food and plastic before throwing it out, they'll send bills to the address. They'll send bills to the apartment buildings. And you have to pay them, or it fucks your credit, and then you're screwed financially for basically the rest of your life. Like, forget trying to recuperate from that financially. So the bills could be anywhere between $30 to $250. And this is like any time that they want to go out and do a blitz, they can do that kind of stuff. Now, we haven't seen a lot of that happening in recent years, but it definitely happened at the beginning when they wanted people to start recycling and they wanted to scare everybody into doing it. And ultimately, I think the reason is because one, it makes money, it frightens the public so that we stay inside this box. And when the stuff makes it all the way down the line, there's been so many investigations done where they don't even recycle any of the stuff. And what they do is they just grind down the plastics and they feed it to the pigs. And then we eat the pigs. So there's microplastics in our food, there's microplastics in the water, there's microplastics in the air, there's all of these tiny plastic particles being ground and put into our foods and all kinds of stuff. And the reason that a lot of this is allowed is because it's this it's this giant money system thing that we live in, like this is just what it is. They got to feed the pigs, so what are you going to give the pig? Like, are you going to start a whole farm of wheat to feed the pigs to make meat? Like, fuck no. Why not just grind up the garbage that people are recycling and feed that to the pigs? And if we can make it small enough and put in just enough to say we can keep it under the FDA limits, and we can lobby and pay them and whatnot in order to raise those limits so that we can put more sawdust and more plastic into the pig food. So anyways, so it's all bullshit. It's all a big lie. And they take away our plastic bags at the grocery stores and make us pay for reusable bags. But in that reusable bag, every single food item that you take out is in plastic and covered in plastic and covered in, and the pigs eat the plastic, and then there's plastic in your meat and this in a plastic jar. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, I think it's a whole bunch of BS. Biggest differences in between the music entertainment scenes, Canada and Serbia. Apparently, Serbia, Belgrade, is known for its nightclubs. This is party central of Europe. I have not been out yet. I'm not entirely sure that my wife wants to go, but she kind of does, but we're not sure. But I think ultimately, excuse me, it's because she's pregnant, and there's going to be a lot of like drinking and smoking and stuff or whatever. So it's probably not the best environment for a pregnant woman to be. But once the baby's born, I can't see why we couldn't go check it out just to kind of see what we think about it. Um, when it comes to the music and entertainment scenes, there's not a whole lot of it. I mean, like bars in Ottawa. So this is the capital of the country. There's bars, and ultimately it's just basically like a hookup spot. It's where people go and pay, $15 for a shot of booze and try to get drunk, and you're not allowed to smoke or have any fun or do anything. And the women act like whores, and the guys are just trying to get laid, and everybody's just out just like smashing and banging into each other, and that's pretty much the end of the night. Everybody goes home, throws up, you're all sad and alone. Like, it's kind of weird, right? So there's not too much respect in the bar scene as far as I'm concerned. And if you wanted to go to a place where you could like sit down and have a drink and like talk with your buddies and stuff like this, there'd be two places that you would be able to do this. One would probably be like a pool hall, like go play billiards, right? Billiards. Anyways, go play pool. That's not something that really happens because the younger generations don't really care about that stuff. So like my dad, who's in his 50s, and me, because my dad taught me how to play pool, like we'd go play pool. So we'd go have some beer and we'd shoot the shit and play pool and stuff like this. And then sports bars might be the next place that people would go spend some more time. So a sports bar would be like what some of the cafes look like here, where they've got like TVs and they'll put some sports on. You can order some food, you can have some drinks, maybe there's a pool table or two or something like that. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. Like there's some more expensive bars and things. Maybe there's some like lounges and things like this, but like in all of Ottawa, in all the like 60 kilometers wide of town, there's probably like two or three lounges, and they're probably owned all by the same guy anyways. So there's not too much of that. And even though that I'm not in the scene, so let's just say that there was more than I know there to be, those places tend to be more expensive. So it's like you're gonna go drink, cognac or some whiskey or bourbon or something, and you're looking at like $20 a drink, and that just doesn't make sense to me. Like it's just way too expensive. So it's not something that you can really partake in if you're just like, a middle-aged or young guy like me, or a young adult or something, and you want to go and like have some drinks. So as far as music and entertainment is concerned, I mean, like when we're talking specifically about like music and entertainment, I know that there's kind of like, the crowd of people that will go out and like play and like do like like a gig at a bar kind of deal or whatever. So people will go to do that type of thing. I'm not too much into it, so let's call it like a karaoke type thing, or like an amateur is trying to like make it big, playing guitar or something like that. So they'll go play at a bar, but people don't really care so much about supporting them. So they go and they make a couple bucks, and they do it more because they want to do it rather than it, becoming anything. So that's that. Now, political differences and family dynamics, I guess I'll leave for another video. I'm not going to do the whole four of them in this one because it's already 10 minutes, so I'll do the other two on the next one.